Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to a new segment on my channel where I'm going to split each division into its own video and kind of give you my thoughts on who I think some of the most underrated players in each division are. Now, I could probably create a list with 25 or 30 names on it. I've picked 5. I'm going to tell you 5 of the ones that are kind of floating around my mind. These aren't the top 5 on my list. This isn't top 5 most underrated players in the Pacific Division. It is just 5 players that I like and 5 players that I do think are underrated. Your list could be different from my list, and I would love it if you could contribute to the conversation down below in the comment section and put, of the 5, don't include any of my 5, but pick one for yourself out of the Pacific Division and tell me why you think that player is underrated. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. So let's not wait any longer. Let's get into this. Number 1, RAKELL. So if you're familiar with my work here on YouTube, whether it was on the original channel or this channel, you've probably heard me say some pretty favorable things about RAKELL in the past. That's because he is legitimately one of my favorite players. He's not the most talented, he's not the most consistent by any means, but he is 100% on my list of favorite players. And I think he does deserve to be in this list of kind of underrated players. He's making $3.789 million, and he is a natural goal scorer. Like I said, he's not consistent, but to have that natural ability to kind of take the puck and make it more of an individual effort versus a team effort, which isn't typically the way to go, but in certain situations, there you just need to have that guy on your team to give in that individual effort and, you know, elevate your team to the next level. And I really do believe that RAKELL has that ability on every shift that he's on. Consistency, like I said, an issue, but his natural ability to put the puck in the net is incredible. And I really do believe that he is an underrated player in the Pacific Division based on his talent and based on his salary. So RAKELL needed to be on my list. Number 2, JT Miller. So unfortunately, JT Miller has kind of been tossed around the league a little bit. He was with the Rangers, and then he was with Tampa, and now he finds himself in Vancouver, which is, as a player, it's pretty frustrating. You really want to get your foot in the door and kind of have a long career with a specific team. I think that is probably the ideal choice, but unfortunately for Miller, it's not working out for him. However, what is working out for him is being an absolutely amazingly consistent player and 100%, in my opinion, an underdog. He is flying under the radar, not just in the Pacific, but in the entire NHL. If I were to classify, a top 5, if I was going to do a top 5 ranking of the most underrated players in the NHL, JT Miller would probably be on that list this year. So, without question, he is one of the best players in the West, underdog or not. And I think at $5.25 million, that's a very reasonable salary, even if he wasn't producing at the level that he did in the most recent year. I think generally, this past year excluded, he would still be considered an underdog for sure. I've always liked Miller. I have a Rangers jersey with his name on the back. So yeah, I really do think he is an underdog. Number 3, TIMO MEIER. Oh snap, it's absolutely TIMO time. I am literally wearing a TIMO MEIER jersey. He is my favorite player on the San Jose Sharks. So maybe my list will be a little bit different from yours because I don't want to say that it's biased, but I have some influence there on my favorite players, like RAKELL, like TIMO MEIER. But objectively, I believe TIMO MEIER is a very underrated forward. Young kid, he's making $6 million, which I think is a reasonable price. He can put up points pretty consistently recently. Unfortunately, this past season, or I guess the current season that hasn't technically ended yet. Well, the season has ended, but you know what I mean. It's complicated. Defensively, he didn't have a great year, but neither did the entire San Jose Sharks team. So I won't fault him individually for that. But I do believe he's very consistent. I think he's incredibly underrated when you think about the other players on the team. Like, even when Pavelski was there, Logan Couture, Thornton, Marleau, there's other names, Brent Burns, there's other names on the team that really kind of hold more value in the public eye than TIMO MEIER. Hertl is another one. But I think TIMO MEIER is one of the best players in the entire Pacific Division. He's not going to put up, he's not going to win a scoring race, but he will consistently provide offensive support to the team. And I really do believe he is one of the most underrated players in the NHL, not just the Pacific. Number 4, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So the Nuge has had an actually interesting career. He's only ever been with the Edmonton Oilers. There were a lot of expectations there, and those expectations have kind of fluttered, I guess, over the years. He's had to deal with a lot as a young, as a young player. He dealt with a lot, and he's still kind of dealing with a lot, although things are better now. But I think he's really found his place with the Edmonton Oilers. He's a fantastic. He went from an expected leader to a good supporting cast member to almost rising again to, you're not going to rise above Draisaitl and McDavid, but he's really become a very superior player for the Edmonton Oilers as of recently, and that is genuinely great to see. I really like Nugent-Hopkins. He's not my favorite player or anything like that, but just a general hockey fan looking from the outside in on the Edmonton Oilers, very good hockey player. I'm glad that he's really finding his way with the Oilers because they've had some unfortunate luck. So that's good for the Oilers, and he 100% underrated. You look at McDavid, you look at Draisaitl, incredible superstars, but not enough attention gets paid to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and underrated 100%. Number 5, Reilly Smith. Now, admittedly, I haven't followed Reilly Smith's career in its entirety, but what I do know about Reilly Smith, at least from what I've paid attention to, is that he's incredibly consistent. He's not, kind of like some others on this list, he's not going to win any scoring race or win any amazing awards or anything like that, but Reilly Smith is extremely consistent, productive, a great supporting character, and even beyond that, he can create something out of nothing. I think that is one of his best talents. He's extremely smart on the ice when it comes to just general hockey sense. His awareness is elite, I would say, and for $5 million, I think he's getting paid. Man, that's a very reasonable contract. That's for his production. So he does get overshadowed by some other players on the team, but I think he is 100% the definition of underrated. And I did say underdog earlier for one of the players, and I apologize about that. I thought afterwards, man, I said underdog instead of underrated. But anyway, these are not in specific order. These are just in total random order. It doesn't matter that Rickard RAKELL was number 1. I'm not saying he's the most underrated player in the Pacific. These are just random. So I would love it if you could leave down below in the comment section maybe an underrated player that you think is somewhere in the Pacific Division, a player that I didn't mention on this list. And if you disagree with any player on my list, man, feel free to let me know down in the comment section. I would love to know your thoughts on any of these players. And as long as you're allowed to disagree, totally allowed to disagree, just keep it respectful. I was respectful in all of my takes in this video. It wasn't really insulting, so if you could not be insulting back, that would be great. It'd be nice to have a good hockey conversation, even if we disagree. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. You can expect this exact video coming out in the next couple of weeks for the other divisions. So I would love it if you could hit the subscribe button, catch those videos, and I hope you're having an awesome day. I will see you in the future. Adios.